Let me tell you something about the kind of loyalty that keeps a fan base alive for years. The kind of love that makes grown people cry over a song. The kind of connection between an artist and a crowd that most musicians would kill to have. Because what happened between Bad Bunny and Chile is not just a concert story. It is not just some social media moment that came and went. This is a whole saga. A real-life telenovela playing out in the comments sections, in the stadiums, and the Instagram posts of one of the most powerful artists walking the planet right now. And if you think this is about one song, you are missing the entire point. This is about history, about pride, about a moment in 2022 that a whole country has been chasing ever since, and about the nerve, the audacity, the beautiful stubbornness of Chilean fans who refuse to let it go quietly. Welcome to Pop Showroom, where we bring you the stories behind the headlines. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button right now because this story goes deeper than anything you've seen in the mainstream media. So, let us go back to 2022. Bad Bunny is on his world tour, performing night after night across different countries, and he is already at the peak of his powers. The stages are massive, the crowds are electric. But something different happens when he hits Chile, something that did not happen anywhere else on that entire tour. In the middle of the show, Bad Bunny performs 120. Now, if you do not know that song, stop right here and go listen to it, because it is not your typical reggaeton banger. It is emotional, it is raw, it hits different. And he sang it live in Chile when he had not sung it anywhere else. Not in the United States, not in Mexico, not in Argentina or Spain or Colombia or anywhere else on that packed tour schedule. Chile, and only Chile, got that moment. One country, one crowd, one night that those fans would never forget. And they did not forget. That is exactly the problem, or depending on how you look at it, exactly the beauty of all this. Because when Bad Bunny came back around and Chile was back on the tour schedule, the fans did what any loyal, passionate, slightly obsessed fan base does. They talked about it. Everywhere, on Twitter, on TikTok, in comment sections, in fan groups. They posted the videos from 2022. They shared the clips. They built up the energy and the expectation. They said he did it once, he has to do it again. We need 120 again. We want 120 again. Chile deserves 120 again. And honestly, they were not wrong for wanting it. When an artist gives you something that special, something that no other country got, you hold on to that. You tell your friends. You remember exactly where you were standing, exactly what the air felt like, exactly how loud you screamed. It becomes yours. And those fans believed, reasonably, that maybe lightning would strike twice. Here is where the story gets interesting, because life has a way of flipping the script on you when you least expect it. The fans asked, they begged, they campaigned, they flooded his comments. And then the word started spreading. First as a whisper, then louder and louder, that Bad Bunny had seen it, that he knew about the requests, and that he was not happy about it. Not annoyed in a small way, actually bothered. Now let that sink in for a second. The man who once gave Chile the most exclusive, emotionally loaded performance of his entire tour was now reportedly irritated because the same fans who loved that moment so deeply could not stop asking for it back. That's the twist nobody saw coming. That's the detail that made the whole internet lean forward in their seats. Now, to be fair, nobody can say for certain exactly what was going on in his head. Artists are human beings, not machines. They have moods, they have bad days, they have moments where the pressure of expectations, the weight of what people want from them starts to feel less like love and more like a cage. And Bad Bunny is not just any artist. He's one of the most watched, most analyzed, most talked about performers in the world right now. Every move he makes gets screenshotted and dissected within minutes. Every Instagram story becomes a theory. Every live performance gets reviewed frame by frame. That level of scrutiny is exhausting in ways that most of us will never understand. So when a whole country is collectively screaming one song title at him, maybe that starts to feel like pressure instead of appreciation. Maybe it starts to feel like people only want one specific thing from him instead of everything he has to offer. That's the artist's dilemma, and it's real. But then something happened that nobody predicted. Bad Bunny did the one thing that always cuts through the noise. He posted on Instagram, and not just a regular post. He shared reflections on his time in Chile, thoughts about the country, the culture, the people, the energy. He put it out there publicly, warmly, like someone who genuinely loves the place he's talking about. And then he dropped the line that sent the entire Chilean fanbase into a collective spiral. He said that he promises to perform 120 in Chile in the future. Not maybe, not if the moment is right. He promised, in writing, on his public Instagram for millions of people to see. And just like that, the whole story flipped again. That's the thing about Bad Bunny that keeps people hooked. You never really know which version of him you're gonna get. One minute the fans are whispering that he's annoyed. The next minute he's on Instagram making promises that sound like love letters to an entire nation. He's unpredictable in the best way possible. He moves on his own timeline, makes his own decisions, and doesn't follow the expected script. And sometimes that frustrates people. But then he does something like this, something tender and direct in public, and suddenly all ounce of frustration evaporates because he acknowledged it. He saw the love, he heard the asking, and instead of ignoring it or deflecting, he made a commitment, and that matters. Think about what it means for those fans, for the people who are at the 2022 concert and have been talking about 120 ever since. For the ones who weren't there but have watched the videos so many times they feel like they were. For the ones who planned and saved and waited to be in the crowd the next time he came through, hoping that this would be the night. Bad Bunny saying he will do it, specifically, by name, in Chile, is not a small thing. That's an artist acknowledging his own history with a place. That's him saying, I remember that night too. I know what it meant, and it is not over yet. That's the kind of statement that keeps a fan base loyal for decades.
And here is the part that makes this whole story even richer. The fact that he already sang it once in 2022, only in Chile, only that one time, means that when he finally does it again, it is going to be an explosion. The anticipation that has been building since 2022 is not going anywhere. It is growing. Every month that passes without that performance, every tour that comes and goes without 120 being on the set list adds more fuel to the fire. So by the time Bad Bunny finally walks out onto that stage in Chile and the opening notes of that song start playing, it is not just going to be a performance. It is going to be an event, a release, a moment years in the making where every person in that stadium who has been holding on to 2022 finally gets to exhale. That is rare. Most artists cannot manufacture that kind of electricity. Bad Bunny doesn't even have to try. The fans built it themselves, and he just stepped into the middle of it and made a promise. Now, let us also talk about the comedy in all of this, because the fans themselves were the first ones to laugh about it. The fact that he supposedly got upset because they asked too much, and then they turned around and laughed about it in the comments, saying things like, okay, maybe we should not have pushed so hard, but also we're not sorry at all. That energy, that mix of embarrassment and defiance, that willingness to poke fun at themselves while still holding firm on what they want, that is the kind of fan base dynamic that most artists dream about. It's not blind worship. It is real, complicated, messy love. The kind where you can joke about getting on someone's nerves and still show up for them every single time. That is not just fans following a celebrity. That is a genuine relationship between an artist and the people who made him part of their lives. And Bad Bunny showing up on Instagram to set the record straight, to respond to all of it, not with silence or PR speak, but with a warm, personal, direct message about Chile and a clear promise about 120, that is him honoring that relationship. He didn't have to do it. He could have let the noise die down, moved on to the next country, stayed quiet. Instead, he chose to speak, and what he said was exactly what those fans needed to hear. It was not a manager posting a careful statement. It was not a vague hint dropped through a third party. It was him, his words, his page, his promise. So where does that leave everyone now? It leaves Chile with something to hold on to that is more powerful than any set list or concert ticket. It leaves them with a direct commitment from an artist who has already proven he does not make promises he does not intend to keep. It leaves the rest of the world watching this whole story unfold and realizing that the relationship between Bad Bunny and Chile is something genuinely special, something that doesn't exist between him and every other country on his tour routes. Chile got the first 120. Chile will get it again. That is the story. That is the saga. And honestly, the fact that we are all still talking about one song from one concert from years ago because of how deeply it landed, because of how much it meant, because of how hard those fans held on to it and refused to let it fade, that tells you everything you need to know about the power of music when it is real, and the power of a crowd when it truly loves you back. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.